Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our Monday morning motivation. Today I'm going to be speaking to you about the importance of the Word. So for decades, society has placed labels on different generations of people. For instance, you have your silent generation, you have the baby boomers, you have Generation X, and now you have a generation that has been labeled as millennials. Now, millennials are classified as being between the ages of 19 and 35. And even though I do fall into that age category, it's difficult for me to label myself as a millennial. Mostly because it seems as if this generation of children and young adults have a mindset that we know what to do better than you do. And if you would read news articles or watch any news network, it probably wouldn't take long before you saw someone around my age talking about a whole bunch of things that make absolutely no sense to a much older and wiser generation, but for some reason it makes sense to them. And the mindset that this generation has is one of convenience. We have grown up with this aspect of having the luxury of convenience. Because with all this innovative technology that we have and that we've been given, we don't have to sacrifice as much. We don't have to work as hard. We don't have to go out and do like we've had to in times past, because we now literally have the world at our fingertips. Now my phone contains basically my entire life, and in a way it is almost an extension of everything that involves me. I have social media on my phone, I have banking information on my phone, car insurance details, medical information, and just like mostly everyone else, I also have a trusty little app called the Bible. Now my phone is arguably the greatest tool of convenience, but my phone isn't my sword. That book, that Bible, that's my sword. And in recent days and weeks, I have made it an intentional habit to carry that book with me everywhere I go. I keep it in my purse, it rides with me in my car, and when I go to bed at night, it's right there on the nightstand when I fall asleep. I have had to intentionally remind myself to carry my Bible because I had also fallen victim to this convenient thinking of technology. But here's the thing, swords aren't designed with convenience in mind. Swords are designed for battle. And it is in this house that we're prepared for battle. And what kind of soldier would I be if I came to this house unprepared for battle? Now don't get me wrong, technology is wonderful, but I don't want the convenience of technology to cause me to water down my perception of how sacred and how holy that book is. Because it's not just another app to be downloaded. It's what sustains me. It's what keeps me safe. It leads me. It guides me. It's not just something that takes up storage space on a phone. We need a revival of a love of the Word of God. George Washington, the founder of our great nation, said, "It is impossible to rightly govern the world without God and the Bible." Abraham Lincoln stated, "I believe the Bible is the best gift that God has ever given to man." William Phelps, a Harvard professor, said, "To any youth eager to write well, I would say 3 words, read the Bible." That book is the best written book in the English language. It is greater than any philosophy or novel because it contains in its pages the greatest short stories, the greatest essays, the greatest philosophy, and the greatest beauty of thought. It is greater than all the other books of the world combined, and it has no rival. Napoleon Bonaparte stated, "The Bible is no mere book, but a living creature with a power that conquers all who oppose it." The Bible truly is unlike any book ever written because it is the only book that reveals to us the mind of God. And in its pages contain the greatest theme, the theme of redemption, of God's love for the human race and the knowledge that God Himself could ever love any of us. In the words of the great Johnny James, the walking Bible himself, if you read the Bible, you'll be smart. If you study the Bible, you'll be wise. If you believe the Bible, you'll be safe. And if you live the Bible, you'll be holy. According to online statistics, there is little doubt that the Bible is the world's best-selling and most widely distributed book. A survey concluded that around 2.5 billion copies were printed between 1815 and 1975, but more recent estimates put that number at over 5 billion. And you would think that in a world where people have bought over 5 billion copies of such a holy book, you would think that we would be in a lot better shape than we are now. But it doesn't do you any good to just own it. You have to ingest it. You have to allow the man, Jesus Christ, that's hidden between those pages to step out from that ink and paper and speak to you and direct your life. In this age that we're living in, there's an attack against the authenticity and the validity of the Word of God. And if you've not read, and if you're not convinced for yourself, then you will be swept away with the thinking that maybe this is just another book to read. Hebrews 4:12 says, "For the Word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart." Psalms 119:105 says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Psalms 119:11, "Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee." Matthew 24:35, "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away." I'll end this Monday motivation with a short story for you. James Kilgore, a pastor in Houston, Texas, and at one point in time, the Assistant General Superintendent of the UPCI, his parents were revivalists, very powerful people of God, and they witnessed many miracles. But James Kilgore's mother was unable to read. So whenever she would sit down to read her Bible, she would pray and she would talk to God. And when she would open that book and begin reading, she said that God would send an angel to her, and it would be like a small lamp going across the words on the page. And she said that that angel would read her Bible to her. So if you want to know the importance of reading the Word, here it is. There's your proof. Because if you can't read it for yourself, then God will send His own personal tutor to read it for you. We need to realize the sacredness of such a holy book. I encourage you, fall in love with the Word and learn how to use the weapon that God has placed in your hand. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful Monday.